Welcome to Inside JMS, stories from the faculty and staff of the Hank Greenspun School of Journalism and Media Studies. Today, we are fortunate, of course, with my compadre, Dave Norris.
Happy to be here, my friend.
We were going to be talking to Dr. Linda Dam, who is an assistant professor in the college. Linda, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Linda, I know you have a very fascinating background, and you're from L.A., and tell me a little bit about growing up, and your parents are very traditional, so tell me about that.
Oh, well, I grew up in Orange County, so really close to LA, but Southern California. My parents are really traditional in certain ways, really protective when I was a kid, so I wasn't allowed to do any sleepovers until I was like in high school. So they were really strict in that regard. But they were also not really strict in terms of watching me do my homework, or they weren't really like a tiger mom in that way.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because with my brother, they didn't really trust him to complete his
we don't trust
schoolwork.
boys. I can speak for that.
So with him, they made him sit at the dining table and do all his homework. But like for me, they just gave me this open schedule. Like it was interesting. So.
Well, I can understand that because you really work independently well. In fact, I know you're doing really well on your research. Tell us about your research.
Oh, well, the most recent study that I'm working on is on wearable fitness trackers and looking at individual factors that might contribute to somebody using their fitness trackers. So, in terms of like Apple Watches or Fitbits, whether you're socially competitive or internally competitive. Are either of you competitive with fitness?
Yes, we are very competitive. Very competitive. Going mountain biking with Dave, it's very competitive just to stay up with him.
Oh, you guys have gone mountain biking together.
We have. We may be going again soon.
That's right. I actually, have used new strategies to try to keep up with him.
Really?
Well, tell us where did your interest in these areas come from? What was it that inspired you to kind of start looking at this stuff?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'm working on this project with Natalie Portman and Comm Studies. And I'm just really intrigued by people's intentions of using fitness trackers. For myself, in my family, we're super competitive, right? So with Fitbit, when I had a Fitbit, I have Apple Watch now, but with Fitbit, it's just my brother was always trying to beat us. My cousin was always trying to be on the leaderboard. And so but then some people just wouldn't participate at all, right? Like if they didn't have time to exercise. And then I had one person in the group that cheated sometimes, and it's like, why? So it was just very fascinating to me. And then now with the Apple Watch, you can individually compete at a higher level, not a higher level, more detailed level, looking at like standing, walking, activity levels. And I don't know, I'm just fascinated by people who use their watches and people who don't.
Well, competitive family. So tell us about your growing up years.
Oh, well, I don't know if this is the question, but the one thing I do regret, and I think I would have maybe been good at, is some type of sport, because I do feel I have a very competitive nature in me. But, going back to my stricter parents, they didn't actually nurture that part of me, right? Like they didn't encourage me to really do any type of sport. I did do Taekwondo when I was a kid and got my junior black belt, but I didn't do any sports in high school. Whereas with my brother, they put him in wrestling. He did really competitive tennis. Did he do basketball? I don't remember, but he was really, really athletically focused. And, he also did well in school. So we both ended up at the same college and whatnot. But yeah, I feel like they didn't,
But still, to get your junior black belt, that's saying something right there. Clearly, you've got a internal motivation in order to get that far along in Taekwondo, but also a great sense of athleticism from a young age.
But I wish I had more athleticism, So if you did sports in high school, I feel like it would translate better now,
Well, I think all of us wish we had some more athleticism. But,
So I feel like I'm striving for that now. Like, I don't know. I want to try different runs. I just did the Spartan race this past summer, which was kind of rough. But I've done Tough Mudder, and I'm just fascinated by that internal competitive.
We didn't know about Linda's how hardcore she is.
Yeah,
Tough
yes.
Mudder, Spartan Race, black belt over here. Holy
Junior
smokes.
black belt.
Okay,
like, doesn't even count.
Linda, tell us a little bit about what you do here at UNLV. You're obviously a researcher, but you teach as well. Tell us about some of the classes that you enjoy teaching. Tell us maybe a little bit about your style as a teacher, or what you think your style is.
So currently I'm teaching the graduate quantitative research methods class, and I've previously taught the undergrad methods class, and I love teaching that class just because I think it's so applicable to all people, right? So it's just anything you want to research. If you want to research a person or a product, you have to kind of go through that process. So I think it's really fun to help students see research in a different way versus like a very dry scientific-y way, right? And I also teach Intro to PR, which is another favorite of mine, which I get to teach in the spring, thanks to Kevin. I do love teaching Intro to PR. It's so fun, especially with everything just going on in society. So I think the way I like teaching is I like looking at real-world events or current events or pop culture and making it applicable to the students, but at the same time kind of honing in on the certain, core class factors or class concepts. So just so they're able to kind of connect what they're learning in the textbook to something happening in like the real world, and then how to really take that and apply it elsewhere, right? Like when they leave the classroom. So what else have I? Oh, I've taught ad strategies. That class is also really fun, but then COVID hit, so then we went remote on that one. I also usually just teach the IMC class, the integrated marketing class, which is really, really, really fun. I love being able to work with the seniors right before they graduate, so it's a really great opportunity to get to know them. And I still keep in touch with a lot of them from my first semester, and they've gone on to get really interesting jobs and whatnot. So I do love teaching the IMC class because I get them right before they graduate.
Yeah, and then getting to see kind of, all right, how do you take this experience that you've had throughout your undergraduate career and transition into the professional workforce? I mean, a very gratifying feeling, if nothing else.
It is, seeing them take all these concepts they've theoretically learned and then just making it more applicable and having something tangible to take away with them when they go on to the workforce.
So you grow up in Orange County, and yet you end up getting your PhD at Connecticut, right?
Yes.
So how did that happen?
So I've lived all my life in Orange County. I mean, like 1 year in Denver, 1 year in Pennsylvania when I was little. But I thought it would be great to kind of get out of Orange County, right, and not stay in that bubble. And I didn't really have the college experience. I went to UC Irvine, so it was a commuter campus. And then I went to Cal State Fullerton, another commuter campus, which were both great institutions. But I thought, this is the moment I should really leave the state, and really do something completely different. So then I chose the furthest place possible. And I always tell my students this, UConn really got me with their marketing because they stated that they're central to Boston and New York City. And I was really sold on that. And in reality, they're in the middle of nowhere, like extremely rural. Like you're kind of central, but
technically you're central.
But you're really like where the cows are behind the ice cream store that they have, like really rural. But I loved my experiences there. And I think it really helped me grow as a person, right? Because I never left California. I was I knew all the same people and whatnot, and this really tested my character. Because again, I remember my parents never let me go to any sleepovers or camps or anything. Mm-hmm. So I was extremely homesick, and it really challenged me in so many ways to grow.
Well, here's what I would love to know. I mean, the way that you grew up clearly, influenced eventually wanting to leave that bubble that you were in. But talk to us maybe about, is there some sort of formative experience or maybe a memory, something like that, that you think, this really helped shape who I am, Dr. Linda Dam, today?
Oh. I mean, I think it would probably be my experience at UConn, just because I actually got, left, and I literally came with 2 suitcases, didn't know anybody at UConn. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't know anyone in the East Coast in general, And so I think that really challenged me because this entire time I've just stayed in Orange County, like I knew all the same people. I had my support system and my parents were there and whatnot. But in Connecticut, I was really alone. and I had to meet all new friends and the weather. I mean, I'm very sensitive to cold, apparently. So that was a struggle, and just kind of being out there alone. But it was one of the greatest experiences because I became super independent and I met really great friends there. And I still visit, well, right before COVID, but I was visiting like twice a year. I was in 2 of my friends' weddings, so I made really good friends. And I'm still really close to my advisor there and other professors. So it was a great program and really a great experience.
So if you kind of look back on life, and I know you're a really good teacher. I've always been impressed with that.
Oh, thank you.
What was there a teacher that really inspired you, or a professor or a teacher that really inspired you and left a mark on you?
Oh, that's a great question. There is. So when I went to Cal State Fullerton to do their master's program, initially I never thought to become a professor. I thought it was too late and whatnot. But I had one professor there, Dr. Laura Triplett, and she's no longer at Cal State Fullerton. But when she was there, she is really the one who paved the way for me to become a professor. She gave me all these opportunities, and the way she teaches is really similar. So I was just really attached to her teaching style, just making all these core concepts in class really applicable to yourself and to the outside world. You're not just memorizing things. You're memorizing, or you're learning it, and then how to apply it, and then how it's relevant to society. So I thought she had a great teaching style, and so I was her TA, and then she let me guest lecture. And then again, the first day of class I had her, she's like, well, what do you want to be? Why are you in this program? And then I was like, I want to be a manager. I don't know, what I wanted, but definitely not a professor. It just didn't even occur to me that's still possible, because I was a returning student, non-traditional. Yeah. And then she let me become her research assistant, and then I learned, I got an opportunity to do all of this stuff as a professor before I even decided to be a professor. She gave me my own class, and then, she really just kind of cultivated. So I really...
That's really neat.
I really wish I was in touch with her, though. But yeah.
No, I understand that. It's hard once you move on sometimes.
Now, you mentioned that you had taken some time away, right? So what were you up to in that time in between when you finished school and went back to school?
So after I graduated at UC Irvine, I did not know what I wanted to do. I did think I wanted to be a journalist, so I got an internship with the LA Times, and I just learned that I'm not a reporter. I just can't deal with that writing under pressure while the editor's right next to you. So I took on all kinds of jobs because I'm all about trying it out, right? I really feel you need to try out the profession before you commit to it. So I was a video game tester. I did that for a little bit. And then I became a marketing assistant at an engineering firm, at a magazine firm. And then I got a really awesome job at UC Irvine. So I came back and I worked for their admissions department, but I did all their communication. So I made the flyers. I loved coordinating the events. So we did a lot of events. So I did a lot of that. And then, just targeted marketing there. And what else did I do there? Worked on their website. So just did any of the communication. I started as a senior writer and became the programs manager there. And that was really fun for a while.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I kind of want to try teaching. So I was getting my master's at the same time I was working at UC Irvine. And then after guest lecturing, I felt that was so exhilarating, So I just wanted to continue that. And then when I did my master's thesis, it was super painful, just such a painful process. But when I finished, I was like, it has to be better than this, I wanted to continue. And so I feel like all my experiences really led me to where I'm at now.
And then you did your dissertation on
multicultural advertising strategies. Yeah.
And then you went from Connecticut to
Dominguez Hills.
Dominguez Hills, that's right.
Close.
Dominguez Hills.
One of the Cal States.
Yeah. I Dominguez Hills, and you did quite a bit there. You were really busy.
I was, yeah. So that was actually a really awesome experience because after Connecticut and being on the East Coast for 4 years, I was so fortunate to land a position back in Southern California. I literally was 30 miles away from my parents and my family and friends and whatnot. And, I had never actually been to Cal State Dominguez Hills. It's one of the smaller Cal States, but I loved working there as well. The students were really awesome, and that gave me an opportunity to really fine-tune my teaching and then I also continued my research there, and I had lots of opportunities for service. So I really got to understand how an institution works and whatnot. So it was a really interesting experience. Busy experience.
You developed programs and classes
we were
and
doing
everything.
Curriculum reviews and developing courses, but it was my kind of first time on, getting it all right at the same time. So I really feel like that prepared me well for this position.
Yeah, I think so too.
So we have, unfortunately, we have to let Dr. Dam go in just a minute because she has to meet a student. But what did we not get a chance to ask you that you think really kind of helps, if it's an incoming student or maybe a faculty member, somebody who's listening to this podcast that wants to get to know you, Dr. Dam? Is there anything we didn't ask you that you think would be good to share?
Oh, that's a great question. A similar question that Kevin had. That I don't know. Well, one thing we didn't talk about is my dog.
We need to talk about your dog.
I know.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with my dog. It's the first time I've owned my own dog. No, but I don't know. I'm really.
Let's talk about your dog.
Oh, okay.
Now, tell us about that story about getting a puppy. And I know. Every now and again, I see you and you're hurrying somewhere. I got to get home to the dog. I got to do this or that. So tell us about it. Does it get you out of the house too to go for walks and everything?
She really made me, I feel like, super more responsible and just more organized because you kind of have to be with the dog. And she was a gift from my friend, so I was dog sitting her dog, and then she got me my own dog. And I never thought I was really a dog person because I grew up with dogs. We had 2 in our family, but I was never like that attached to them, I guess. They were more my brother's dogs. And then when I went to Connecticut, I lived with a friend who had a dog, and that became like my dissertation dog. Like I would literally fly back to Connecticut to visit this dog that isn't even mine. And then when I got my own, I wasn't even sure if I could love another dog like that. And I do. And so she's been wonderful. She just got spayed, a couple weeks ago, and she's doing great. And it's like, why didn't I get a dog sooner?
Oh, wow.
Although there are limitations, right? I can't travel as freely as I used to. But it's worth it to have, to have her.
She's your baby.
She is. I love my dog. So then I became a dog person, like photo stickers and pictures everywhere.
So tell us what type of dog it is.
She's a German Shepherd.
Dogs get big.
Yeah, she's 65 pounds,
Oh, my goodness.
I wasn't really thinking about all the logistics with having a larger dog. But she's wonderful.
And her name's Olive, right?
Olive.
I love it.
She's great. We're very similar in personality, I feel. My friend makes fun of her because she's like brave Olive. Like she's scared to do anything. She's super not athletic. But she's a sweet dog, really, really sweet, really cuddly.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with us today and letting everybody kind of get to know who you are a little bit, Linda.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
We've enjoyed chatting with you, and wish you great future here, and we're sure glad to have you.
Thank you so much.